Good day, everyone, and welcome to the program, The Big Agenda. I am Miss Emily. On today's program, we are honored to have Honorable Dr. Adebayo Shittu on our program, and we will be discussing on national issues. Welcome to the program, sir.
It's my pleasure. Sure.
All right, sir. Can you kindly introduce yourself?
You have mentioned my name, Dr. Abdurrahim Adebayo Shittu, a barrister at law, and the immediate past Minister of Communications. I can say with all sense of humility that I have also been a member of the Oyo State House of Assembly some 43, 44 years ago. I was there for 4 years. I became Commissioner for Home Affairs, Information and Culture in 1983. Our government then was booted out by the Buhari junta in 1984. Interestingly, it was a debt that divinely he had to pay by appointing me decades after as Minister of Communications. I appreciate that from him. I have also been Attorney General at a point that was sometime in 2007 in Oyo State. And here I am as the immediate past Minister of Communications.
All right, sir. As a politician, can you kindly tell us about your activities in and outside the politics?
For me, politics is a lifetime project. I started politics right from law school. I was in the law school, well, even before I got to the law school, while at Ife, I had the good fortune of meeting the late Chief Obafemi Awolowo, who around 1977 came to my hometown, Shaki, in Oyo State, to prepare his erstwhile followers for the resumption of politics, which the military at that time was trying to bring about. I was on holiday then, and somehow when I learned that he was coming, I sneaked into the meeting and I listened to him, and I became an addict of Chief Awolowo's politics. So I regard myself as a graduate of the Awolowo School of Politics. I was lucky to then become a member of the Committee of Friends, which transmuted into Unity Party of Nigeria. It was therefore on the platform of Unity Party of Nigeria that I contested election into the Oyo State House of Assembly. And for the following 4 years, I was one of the most active in the House at that time. And out of politics, I regard myself as having been a politician. A politician in the sense that there are a lot of people who go into politics. Some, when they go, they don't have a second address. But for me, having been a lawyer, whether it was political time or not, I've always been very active in political participation, and I am happy that I've been able to make very modest contributions. For now, I believe very strongly that we need to go back to the ideals of governance which Chief Obafemi Awolowo, which we inherited from him. And what are those ideals? In Yoruba, we call it Afenifere, that is, people who love others like they love themselves. What that means is that governance should be about improving on the condition of the electorate. And that is why Chief Awolowo had the 4 cardinal programs at that time: the program of free education at all levels, free health services, integrated infrastructure development, and full employment. It's a pity that a lot of people in government these days, hardly remember these very, fundamental ideals. If I have the opportunity of governing, I would ensure the reenactment of this program. Because, for instance, if you take education, education is the great leveler. We are here because we're all educated. Our colleagues and peers from the beginning who are not educated will not be in this kind of environment. So education, I believe, is the greatest method of fighting poverty, because anybody who is educated would have a sense of integrity, would have a sense of dignity, would be able to evolve programs and projects which would be intended at eliminating poverty, eliminating hunger, and all of that, and they be able to contribute positively, towards government. Anybody who is not educated, like Taishola used to say, in those days, in the early 80s, he and I used to engage in a lot of television debate at NT Ibadan. And he used to say that he can determine or predetermine the future of an uneducated person, but that he cannot predetermine the fate of an educated person. What did he mean by that? An uneducated person, you can clearly say he will never be governor. You can clearly say he can never be a commissioner. You can clearly say he can never be a council manager. He can't be a journalist. He can't be so many things. But for an uneducated person, the sky is always the limit. Times could just change, and before you know it, he's up there, using the weapon of education. So I believe that in a society which is just developing like we have, education is what we must spend all resources on to ensure that everybody in society is educated. And Chief Aldo also used to say, if you say education is expensive, try ignorance. Because ignorance, anybody who is ignorant, would hardly be able to contribute to national or social development. So for me, I want to appeal to all of our people in government, irrespective of party differences, that we should give education the priority of place so that our people could benefit and become better human beings.
Okay, sir, from your speech so far, I can understand that you're a lover of education. That's very, very good. Now, year in, year out, Nigeria and other country produces a lot of graduates. But outside the world, there is no job, no empowerment. So how do you think that the young Nigerians out there can cope or still be convinced that education is the best?
Well, I've said it, if you think education is not good, try ignorance. You see, there's no that we do graduate thousands of people every year, but there are no jobs. But you would have to agree that education is not only because of jobs. Education changes your perspective. Education makes you to know what is right from what is wrong. Education makes you to know your rights and know the limitations you have under the law. And an educated person cannot easily be manipulated. We have deficiency in the quantity and quality of the education that we have in Nigeria, and that's the problem. If you have, for instance, computer graduates who can hardly manipulate a computer set, then you cannot say that education, even with regard to their degrees in computer study, you cannot say that is, quality education. So I think what is important is for us to reorganize education in such a way that apart from general literacy, we have to ensure that people also acquire skills. When I became Minister of Communications, a few graduates of computer studies came to me. They wanted financial assistance to enable them go to India for skills training. I said, but you're already graduates of computer studies from universities. They say all that they have are paper qualifications, that they are not job ready because they have not acquired any skills from the universities. So this means that there are question marks on the type of education that we have in Nigeria. So in organizing education at a general level, we must also look at the content of it, so that we are sure that we are not just wasting, the time of undergraduates, but we are really giving them skills which will make them job ready.
All right, so let's come a bit into the politics. The 2023 election is hitting hard and around the corner. Now, are you aspiring for any position?
Well, immediately, I am contesting for national secretaryship of the APC at the national convention coming up on 23rd of March this year. And my aim is to ensure that, because political parties are the agencies which give birth to governments. So I want to imagine a situation where in my party, if I am sufficiently involved in its governance, I'll be able to assist in evolving proper manifestos and evolving proper projects for our governments produced by our party to implement. A situation where we are just a party and where we only use the political party as platform for people to get into office without being able to contribute to what they will do when they get into office does not do anybody any good. So my immediate plan is to contest for the national secretary of the party. If I succeed in that, good luck to our party, because certainly I will be able to contribute effectively, to the new scheme of things, that the party will be engaged in. You would agree with me that as of today, when people use the platform of political party, once they win election, they become lords, and the party is almost discarded. The party only, get to talk to them when they need money for one thing or the other, and so on, or when they need political position. But more importantly, it is not the positions that we acquire through our political party that are important. More important is, what does the product of our party in government, what do they do to contribute to national development? So, and I think that we need to bring in the best brains into our political party so that they can help in formulating proper policies for governments which we produce.
We are aware that the National Convention was postponed. Do you have any opinion regarding to that?
Well, give us a definite date, not only for the convention, but also for world congresses. And they have also gone ahead to zone positions across the 6 geopolitical zones. So now everybody is very clear as to the certainty, by God's grace, of what the National Convention will look like, what positions will be up for grabs by the various zones, and then so it is for all parties who are interested, to prepare properly so that the party can get the best men to pilot the affairs of the party. You see, it's like if you have a company and you bring riffraffs to constitute the board of governors or board of directors of the company, you cannot get the best, for the company. So as we recruit the best brains for any company that we, set up, because we want the best success for such companies, much more importantly, political parties should get the best people into the executive, because the exco of the political party then becomes the brain box for the political party. So it is very important, and I pray that we get the best people to constitute the national executive of our party, so that those people in the ESCO can really assist the governments that we produce to provide the best government, which would be focused on what is best for governance.
Okay, sir. Still on this matter, the electoral bill amendments that have not been signed by Mr. President, a lot of Nigerians have the feeling that APC is not well organized, and Governor Wike in his speech said that Mr. President fears that if he signs the amendment bill, that APC stand no chance of winning.
Well, with due respect, you cannot. Wike is somebody who sees himself at the drama stage all the time. So the fact that he has said what he said does not necessarily mean that serious-minded people should take him into consideration, because he is always only critical. He does not, bring new alternative ideas which will help the polity. Everybody has a duty to assist this government, because whether we like it or not, it is government in place now. If they are not able to provide the best, all Nigerians will suffer. So we should not be looking at things, at Wike's advice, not to be looking at things only from the pejorative political perspective alone. Having said that, we have a government which is based on democracy. And democracy is about tripod. You have the executive, you have the judiciary, you have the legislature. The proposal on the electoral bill was brought about by the National Assembly. What they felt and how they felt the electoral bill should look like, they did it, sent it to Mr. President. It is within Mr. President's executive and presidential discretion to agree with them or not agree with them. And what he said was, look, let us don't be constrictive. Let us provide opportunity for all parties to decide whether they want direct or indirect. So, I mean, that is the best that you can have in our kind of democracy, which is not about dictatorship. If Mr. President had said, whether you like it or not, it must be, there won't be, there won't be, there won't be open elections. That would be unfair to people who, in their party, feel that it should be the other way around. So for me, the ball is back in the court of the National Assembly. Mr. President has not offended against any law. It is within his presidential, prerogative. So it is up to the National Assembly to do what they feel will be in the better. If they are able to summon sufficient votes to override Mr. President's veto, so be it. But for now, everybody is doing what the law allows him or her to do.
Before we bring the program to an end, as an APC loyalist, did you feel spited for not being reappointed for the second time by Mr. President?
You would recall that Nigerians are about 200 million. Only about 40 people become ministers at a time. I used to be a local champion in Oyo State. By Mr. President's mercy, he uplifted me today by the grace of God, and with all sense of humility, I have become a national figure. So, I mean, there are millions of others who would never get the opportunity of being ministers. So for me, the experience that I've gotten as a minister for 4 years, it cannot be bought from the shops or from the marketplace. So I thank Mr. President for the opportunity, and I know that that service will not be the last that I will have as an opportunity to serve Nigeria. Many opportunities will still come. Once there's life, there's hope.
Do you have any regrets, or do you think there is something you have done differently during your time?
Well, there's no doubt I have regret, because it's not everything that I felt we needed to do for Nigeria that got done through my initiative. No matter how brilliant you think you are, no matter how good you think your ideas are, if the majority of your colleagues say no, you cannot dictate. You have to abide by it. I've had a few proposals that I wanted done for the country. It didn't sail through, and because it's not my property. Nigeria is not my property, and government is not my property. And so, when you're a minister, you know that you are just one out of about 40 people. And once you are unable to, convince, your colleagues one way or the other, then you don't blame anybody.
Thank you so much. And at this point, we bring the program to an end. Thank you very much for your time.
It's my pleasure. Thank you so much.
Our viewers, you can follow us on all the social media platforms at Prime Reporters News. Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and of course YouTube. Thank you very much, sir, for your time.
It's my very good pleasure. You are welcome to my office.